Talk. That's Dayton 24/7 now.
First tonight, the Montgomery County Jail Coalition making their voices heard at the county commission meeting. Comes after 7 people died in that jail last year. Now, the individual stories of those who died in the jail were read aloud at that meeting. Lydia Bice was there, shares the response.
After recently seeing the surveillance footage of what truly happened to him, the treatment Isaiah went through for 10 hours plays in the back of my head every day and is definitely enough to keep you up at night.
Caitlin Miner is a former co-worker and friend of Isaiah Trammell, the 19-year-old who died in March of last year after an incident at the Montgomery County Jail. This is video showing Trammell beating his head repeatedly on the wall of his cell before officers restrained him. He later died at the hospital from blunt force trauma. Family members say Trammell had autism and was clearly in distress. County commissioners say the video is hard to watch.
These stories are deeply disturbing. No one deserves what happened, especially, when they're in there for pretrial. We saw the video for the first time. You all saw the video.
But the Montgomery County Coalition says more needs to be done. The organization is demanding a comprehensive review be completed by a state agency to determine why so many people that are being held in pretrial detention in Montgomery County are losing their lives.
Call your local and public officials, call the sheriffs. Let's get active with the sheriff and the county commissioners to review this.
But the commission says they aren't the ones in charge of jail operations.
While this venue might give you an opportunity to make a statement, the sole responsibility of operation in the jail under state law is with the county sheriff.
Which is why the coalition sent a petition to the Ohio Department of Rehabilitation and Corrections this week, asking them to get involved. The coalition is still waiting to hear if the state is going to take action.
That was Lydia Bice reporting. Multiple people in the hospital tonight with serious life-threatening injuries after a crash involving a motorcycle. That happened around 8 this morning in Vandalia near McCauley and Old Springfield roads. Now, that road was shut down for several hours before reopening. Police now investigating what led to that crash. Also, an investigation underway after a child was hit by an SUV in Washington Township. That happened around 10 this morning on Miamisburg Centerville Road. Police say the child was riding that bike when they were hit by a white SUV. We do know medics were requested to that scene. As we learn more, we'll update you on air and online. And take a look, a vacant house catching fire in Lynbrook Drive in Dayton. Luckily, no one was inside at the time. You can see the home is a total loss. The walls and roof gone. Investigators now working to figure out how that fire ignited. All right, our other big story is obviously the weather. We got heat advisories. It's downright dangerous if you're out there too long.
Yeah, and it's going to be that way for the rest of the week too. So you got to give extra thoughts to the folks that are working out there in the heat all day long. Thankfully, the sun hasn't been terribly unbearable. That being said, it has been very humid, bringing heat indices up into the triple digits. So heat advisory in effect. This is through 8 p.m. on Friday, and this will likely be extended into Saturday as well. So that heat and humidity will continue. Current temperatures, it's 82 right now in Dayton. It's still very warm. It's 78 in Springboro. We got cloud cover around the area. That's helping to keep temperatures up as well. Humidity, dew points are in the 70s, so it's feeling very soupy. Not the correct reading in Oxford at 34. But this is what it feels like. It feels like almost 90 in Springboro. It feels like 87 right now in Dayton at this late in the evening. And we'll stay very warm and soupy overnight. Lows dropping into the mid 70s. Have a look at the rest of the week's forecast and when we'll finally see some relief in a bit.
Well, the CenterPoint Energy Dayton Air Show is entering into another historic moment this year, the 50th anniversary, and we're going to take a look back at the history that will look to inspire future generations. Jenna Lee Borick live from the Dayton Airport now, where that show is going to take flight. So what about the history? What'd you find out?
Adam, I learned that the Dayton Air Show started in 1974 when Chamber of Commerce members were trying to think of ways of how to grow the aviation business in this area. 50 years later, it's taken on a life of its own.
It started with some very forward-thinking individuals who wanted to celebrate flight.
The home of aviation, Dayton, became the home of the air show in 1974. The pages of the 1975 souvenir program turn back time, with each flip of the page showing an era not always thought about today. From the entertainment to the planes that were featured and flown during the show, It's clear the Dayton Air Show has evolved over time.
Those shows were smaller shows. There wasn't as much in the air, and there definitely wasn't the ground display that we have nowadays.
The shows were smaller indeed. The map of where the second show was compared to today's visualizes the growth over time. Now, the exhibits and areas where people get to watch flight at its best takes up 110 acres. As people gaze into the sky this year, history will be honored that wasn't so distant when the first shows were put on. There will be World War II airplanes, a Pearl Harbor reenactment, and a tribute.
We have Operation Welcome Home this year, which is going to be a tribute to our Vietnam veterans.
Kreitzer says this 50th anniversary will have the largest ground display in the show's history, and Dayton, being the home of aviation, won't be lost in this celebration, just like it wasn't lost on those who decided to put on an air show to reignite aviation in its birthplace.
But even bigger is just the celebration of us being the birthplace of aviation. In the air show industry, the folks say, you know you've made it when you are invited to fly in Dayton.
Kreitzer urges people to arrive when the gates open this weekend at 9 a.m. and stay until they close at 6 p.m. I'm sorry about that, because there's so much that there's going to be to experience. If you'd like to get tickets, you can go to the link on our website, Dayton247now.com. Back to you in studio.
Governor Mike DeWine looking to allocate $10 million into the state capital budget toward bringing an all-new state-of-the-art mental health care hospital to Dayton. It'll be the 7th in the state. Now, I spoke to him earlier today on what it would look like.
It's going to mean people will not have as far to go. Their families will not have as far to go. But it's also going to relieve a lot of the stress that we have on the entire system. This will give us 7. This will create an additional 220-some beds. And it's also going to be very different than what you might see in the movies or what you might see on TV about how mental hospitals are, in fact, portrayed.
A final location has not been decided on. Now, the money would be the first phase, which would include buying the land and the design itself. The governor expects the House to pass the budget and have it on his desk by late next week. Trotwood City Council holding a meeting tonight to discuss new jobs coming to the area. The meeting focused on the next phase before construction begins on a more than 230,000 square foot manufacturing facility at the Gated Properties Industrial Park. Now, the company's name has not been publicly revealed yet, but says it plans to bring more than 200 new jobs to that industrial park to start, with a formal announcement coming soon.
And not only is that going to create new job opportunities to the community for residents, it's going to create more revenue to the city in the way of income taxes and certainly property taxes into the future. But it's also going to help drive those additional amenities, the housing that we want to see in the community given more demand, some of the restaurants and those other amenities that we've been on the cusp of being able to attain. But this critical mass is going to help us reach that goal.
We'll keep you updated on the air and online when we know more about the company's groundbreaking announcement to the city of Trotwood. Well, another Sheet store celebrating its grand opening today, where it is, and the special offer to customers who stop by in the next hour.
Plus, we're tracking that heat and humidity for the rest of the week. I'll let you know when we'll finally see some relief coming up. Here's a live look from our EcoPlumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
6 digestive symptoms. The power of nature. A Bureau guest.
"42 foster children are equipped with new suitcases full of care items, all thanks to a local church. Omega Baptist Church Social Justice Ministry delivered suitcases to Montgomery County Children's Services, all filled with toiletries and other hygiene items. Most foster kids often pack their belongings in plastic bags because they don't have suitcases. So members of the church say they hope that this could be an inspiration for others to help those in need.
It doesn't have to just be the community that you live in, you know, we are all a part of every community. And if you see a need that is out there, you know, step up. It doesn't have to be big. It can be small, whatever the gesture. You know, we all at some point require someone's assistance. And don't wait for it to be, you know, some grandstand where, you know, just you could do it yourself. A little bit at a time helps over the long haul.
Omega's pastor says this is an initiative that the church has led for the past few years. Well, gas and convenience store Sheetz opening a new location, a second one, in fact, in Huber Heights. The store celebrating the grand opening on Brant Pike marks the 7th location in our area. The company made a donation to the Special Olympics and the Food Bank, plans to make donations at all local Sheetz openings. The chain has opened stores in the area and across Ohio, with one in Washington Township still in the works.
Dayton's a great town, a great city. It's a great place to be. A lot of people. There's not a lot of things like Sheetz here. There are some competitors that are similar to us, but we have a different model. It's just been a really great place to grow and a welcoming community, and we love working with the Dayton area towns.
And for the next 45 minutes, they are offering free self-serve coffee to all customers.
Well, cloud cover across the area, actually keeping our temperatures even warmer overnight. We're going to be sitting in the mid, maybe even some upper 70s, and it's still very sticky out there. Warm, muggy conditions still in place, lots of moisture in play, which will continue to be the case for tomorrow, which will increase our chance for a pop-up shower or a thunderstorm. We were fairly quiet today, but I do anticipate tomorrow maybe just a little bit more coverage as far as those pop-ups go. So here's a look at what we're expecting tomorrow. Mostly cloudy, getting up into the 90s. I'm thinking low, maybe some mid 90s out there. And then around 3-4 p.m. we could start to see some storms developing. This is indicating thunderstorms around 7 p.m. Storms that do develop could potentially become strong to severe. Gusty to damaging wind gusts would be the main concern. This time of the year, when we get this much heat and humidity, it doesn't take much for a storm to be on the stronger side. That being said, they are here and gone pretty quickly. As far as Thursday goes, a little bit more sunshine expected, still in the 90s. Same trend for our Friday, with temperatures back up 90s for the afternoon, and then a very small chance for a shower or a thunderstorm. I'll have a look at when we'll see some relief coming up.
The CEO of airplane manufacturer Boeing getting grilled on Capitol Hill today over the safety culture of the company amid recent accidents.
Much has been said about Boeing's culture. We've heard those concerns loud and clear. Our culture is far from perfect, but we are taking action and we are making progress.
Scrutiny is resurfacing over the company since 2 deadly crashes in 2018 and 2019 killed nearly 350 people. Whistleblowers have come forward with concerns over Boeing rushing manufacturing, as well as mistakes that could lead to serious breakdowns in the air. Lawmakers say they want accountability for Boeing to eventually succeed.
This hearing is a moment of reckoning.
This committee, everybody in this room, I would say everybody in America wants Boeing and the airline industry to succeed. It's just crucial that they do so.
Now, Boeing's alleged safety lapses are under investigation by multiple federal agencies, including the DOJ, FAA, and the National Transportation Safety Board. Federal prosecutors have now indicted 24 alleged Mexican cartel associates. They say they used a Chinese money laundering group to clean $50 million generated from drug sales in the LA area. The DOJ says the 24 people linked to the cartel were charged with money laundering and conspiracy to distribute cocaine and methamphetamine.
Together, these groups have created an organization in which millions and millions of dollars are moved in proceeds from the drug sales in the United States back down to Mexico. And wealthy Chinese nationals in this country are given access to virtually limitless supplies of cash.
Both Chinese and Mexican law enforcement agencies told the DOJ they've arrested people named in the indictment who fled the U.S. Back at our area now, let's give you a live look from our EcoPlumber Skycam over downtown Dayton tonight. Warm night as you step outside. Let's check in with Natalie.
Yeah, it's warm and pretty sticky. I'm actually surprised my glasses didn't fog up when I stepped out here because it is very humid. And going from the AC to out here, it's definitely a difference. As we have dew points hanging out in the 70s, and when they get up into the 70s, especially 77 in Middletown, you really just feel like you're wearing the air. So very humid conditions out there. And as far as what we're expecting for these next several days, notice that we actually do have a little bit of a drop in the humidity Saturday and into our Sunday. And then it does look like by next week, we'll start to feel just even more relief from that heat and humidity. Tomorrow, still a very humid day. We have that heat advisory through 9 p.m., 8 p.m. on Friday. I'll have a look at our 7-day coming up in just a bit.
Well, Juneteenth is tomorrow. Many will be celebrating across the area, where you can go and celebrate and how you can get a free ride to do so. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Take Dayton. Lawyers at Elk & Elk. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO.
Well, tomorrow is Juneteenth, a day to celebrate and to honor the end of slavery in the U.S. That holiday marks the last day remaining enslaved people in Galveston Bay, Texas, were notified in 1865 that they were no longer in bondage. Now, the news came nearly 2.5 years after then President Abraham Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation. President Joe Biden signing the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act 3 years ago, officially making it a federal holiday. Now, several Juneteenth celebrations have been planned throughout Montgomery County tomorrow, and to ensure the community has access to all of them, the RTA is offering free rides. one of the biggest local celebrations. That's going to be a free concert at the Phrase in Kettering. It's tomorrow from 5 to 8 p.m. It's going to have live music, food trucks, local vendors, and activities for the entire family. To learn more about it, just head to phrase.com. Well, for many kids that rely on schools for their meals, summer can be a challenge, and that's why we're once again partnering with Feeding America. For Sinclair Care's Summer Hunger Relief, just scan the QR code to help provide meals for children and families right here in the Miami Valley. Well, some sad news in the world of baseball. A man regarded as one of the best to ever put on a uniform has passed away. We look back at the life of Willie Mays next. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
It all